In the game of love, where the narcissist is the director, they always hold the power of life and death, deciding everything according to their whims. When they want to end a relationship, they leave abruptly, at a moment they deem perfect. Yet they rarely want to let go completely. Like a cunning cat playing with a tiny mouse, they enjoy keeping you in limbo where you can never tell what's real and what's not. They might disappear from your life in the blink of an eye, block all communication, without a word of explanation, without even a wave goodbye. But don't be surprised if one day they suddenly reappear, as if nothing ever happened. They'll resume the relationship with you as though everything is normal, until they grow bored again and disappear once more. Silence is the weapon a narcissist wields with mastery. They are silent when they want to end things, and they continue their silence to manipulate. They wait, observe you, not out of fear of losing you, but because they are confident that you will eventually come back, begging, pleading. Their silence is like a challenge to you, because they believe that sooner or later you will relent and return to them. They gamble on your empathy and are confident in their ability to manipulate. They pull you into a vicious cycle where you keep trying to please someone who is never satisfied. And the goal? Simply to gratify their distorted ego. They revel in watching you beg, plead and cling, asking for another chance, even apologizing for mistakes they themselves caused. It sounds crazy, incomprehensible, but it's the truth. Every message, every call from you is like a dose of validation, soothing their shame, deflecting blame, and silencing their conscience. If what I did was so bad, why is this person still chasing me? This is how they delude themselves, avoiding responsibility and justifying their wrongdoing. They take pleasure in your pursuit, as it serves as a confirmation that they aren't as terrible as they might secretly fear, that their actions don't warrant condemnation. In the narcissist's mind, someone deeply hurt would never cling or beg. Your persistence, according to their twisted logic, is forgiveness, a sign that they are not unworthy of love or deserving of hate. But what if you are strong enough to break free from those invisible chains? What if you resolutely step out of the manipulative game that the narcissist has painstakingly orchestrated? What happens then? Will they accept defeat easily? Or will they unleash their fury, deploying their final weapons to try to pull you back? Join me as we continue to explore the dark psychology of the narcissist to better understand their reactions when their prey escapes their control. And if you've ever experienced such a situation, don't hesitate to share your story in the comments below. I am always here, ready to listen to your thoughts and experiences. First, they feel hurt. Narcissists are like selfish children, constantly demanding attention and gratification. They may treat you cruelly, trampling over your emotions and values without remorse. Yet strangely, if you stop playing by their rules, if you no longer react in the way they desire, they are the ones who end up suffering. They resemble emotional vampires, constantly needing to feed on your negative reactions to sustain their inflated ego. When you no longer provide that nourishment, they wither, feeling empty and deeply wounded. You are no longer their puppet, no longer there to soothe and regulate their emotions, and that drives them mad. But the ultimate irony lies here. After everything they've done to you, lying, deceiving, devaluing, and ultimately discarding you without a second thought, they cast themselves as the victim. They feel hurt because you're no longer in pain over them, no longer sacrificing yourself for them as you once did. It's hard to fathom the narcissistic mindset if you haven't experienced it firsthand. In their distorted worldview, they are always the center of the universe. They can't and won't comprehend the emotions of others. When you fail to give them the reactions they crave, they become resentful, blaming you for all the suffering they endure. They forget that they are the ones who inflicted the wounds, that they are the ones who destroyed the relationship. And now they don the role of the victim, seeking your pity. Second, they feel regret. Do narcissists ever feel regret? The answer might be yes, but don't rejoice just yet. Their regret isn't for the loss of a soul, for the breakdown of a bond, but simply for the collapse of a project they worked hard to build. Like a child losing their favorite toy, they regret losing their supply, the person who catered to their selfish needs and inflated their grandiose sense of self. They regret losing the servant they had, the ATM that's no longer working, the companion who's vanished, but not a soulmate, not a true partner. To them, anyone who can fill the endless void inside, anyone who can become their puppet, could be the chosen one. Think back to your first encounters, when their perfect mask hadn't yet fallen. They were like a seasoned hunter, stalking, studying their prey, using every trick in the book to ensnare you. Sweet words, romantic gestures, luxurious gifts, all were just shiny wrappers hiding their true nature. They painted a dreamy world where you drowned in the intoxication of love, only to wake up alone with your wounds. Of course, without you they'll find someone else to replace you, but that means starting over, putting on the fake mask again, acting out another charade. Keeping you is always easier than finding someone new. A narcissist regret, after all, is just selfishness wrapped in a clever disguise. They get angry and blame you. As paradoxical as it sounds, narcissists find satisfaction in the negative reactions of others. Your anger, frustration, or pain is the fuel that sustains their distorted ego. They are like energy vampires, feeding on negative emotions to survive. So when you remain silent, indifferent, cutting off that source of energy, they feel lost, disoriented, like an addict deprived of their drug. Your silence strips them of the control they once had, forcing them to face uncomfortable emotions they've long avoided. Rather than introspecting, they blame you, claiming you're the cause of their suffering. Even though they've lied, demeaned, and discarded you, they still cast themselves as the victim, feeling hurt that you aren't devastated over them. Narcissists are like shattered mirrors, reflecting only their own image while failing to see their flaws. Why? Because they cannot take responsibility for their actions. Accountability is a major issue for narcissists. They can't admit they were wrong. They can't reflect on their behavior. For them, being angry at you is far easier than acknowledging their mistakes. A normal person might reflect on their actions and try to make amends, but not a narcissist. They will never admit they were wrong, never attempt to make things right. Instead, they'll continue blaming others and never learn from their mistakes. Finally, they are overwhelmed by chaotic emotions. Narcissists often find themselves trapped in a complex psychological cycle, torn between a desire for reconciliation and an angry need for revenge. Like an emotional roller coaster, they swing constantly between wanting to pull you back and resenting you. One moment they might think they need you, that they can't live without you, and the next moment they plunge into venomous thoughts, blaming you for everything that has happened. It's an endless cycle where anger, vengeance, and pretending nothing is wrong intermingle, trapping them in the mess they've created. This behavior is often referred to by psychologists as hoovering, a term inspired by how a vacuum cleaner sucks everything back in. When narcissists feel they've lost control, they'll try to pull you back into their lives by any means necessary, from tearful apologies to reminders of past happy memories. But remember, their true motive isn't love or genuine remorse. It's control. They can't bear the thought of you leaving and thriving without them, as it deeply wounds their grandiose but fragile ego. If you return, they are likely to resume their old patterns of behavior, as if nothing ever changed. While they are caught in this emotional whirlwind, they often try to fill the void by seeking out someone new. They may rush into a new relationship, not out of love, but as a distraction from thoughts of you. However, these relationships rarely last because they bring their toxic behaviors and unresolved emotions into them. As a result, despite their attempts to replace you or escape the pain of loss, they ultimately return to the same starting point, angry, regretful, and feeling sorry for themselves. Psychological studies, such as those by Dr. Ramani Vasula, indicate that narcissists lack the ability to process loss or failure in a healthy way. Instead of learning to accept and move on, they sink into feelings of injustice and self-inflicted suffering. This creates a toxic emotional loop that not only harms them but also pulls you into a chaotic maze if you're not careful. The most important advice when facing this behavior is to establish clear boundaries. Remember, their attempts to pull you back are not driven by genuine love or a desire to change. It's simply their way of maintaining power and control. If you've decided to leave, stay firm in your decision. Don't let their promises, moments of vulnerability, or emotional manipulation sway you. Instead of being drawn back into their whirlwind, focus on healing and rebuilding your life. A life free from manipulation, harm, and emotional chaos. You deserve peace and a healthy love, not a cycle of repeated suffering and regret. Dealing with narcissists is undoubtedly a challenging journey, but understanding the motives behind their facade can provide you with some peace as you seek to reclaim your own serenity. Before wrapping up, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks to our amazing audience, those who have always supported and accompanied us, contributing to the success of our channel. Every view, every comment, and every piece of feedback, no matter how small, is a tremendous source of motivation for us to keep striving, maintaining, and improving the quality of our content. Your support has been a powerful force that allows us to continue creating meaningful content, spreading knowledge, and sharing positive values with the community. We deeply appreciate and are grateful for your presence as an essential part of this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our upcoming videos packed with more useful information. Help us spread these values to those around you so that together we can build a more civilized and better community. And most importantly, don't hesitate to leave a comment below sharing your thoughts and feelings about this topic or any questions you'd like answered. We're always ready to listen, interact, and exchange ideas with you.